Welcome to the Orange Flag Podcast. Max Verstappen did things or didn't do things in F1, but first, Max Verstappen did and didn't do things in sports cars. But actually, first, we forgot some stuff from Sebring. I'm Austin.
I'm Aries.
I'm Nicole. So you may have seen our interviews that we posted from Sebring, our little one-question interviews. I thought it would be kind of fun to discuss a little bit of the behind the scenes of doing those. I don't think we've really gone into, what we do with making those interviews, because it's a lot of fun. A lot of rapport building with the drivers. It is, for me, one of the more fun parts of the weekend is talking to drivers like that. So, the question that I asked was describe Sebring, but you can't say bumpy.
They were so confused.
Very, very much confused everyone, because, normally that's what they describe it as, is just bumpy. So, a lot of the guys, and I cut this, initially thought I wanted, a single word. So they were like, tough, challenging, long. I'm like, no, you can, say a lot of words. And then there's Felipe Nasser, who, gave me a dissertation on Sebring, and I had to cut it because I think he talked for 2 minutes. Thank you, Felipe. I promise we will do a long-form interview with you. It will not be hostile or confrontational. I promise. I know you want to get interviewed, so I will do that at one of these races. But Felipe gave the longest answer about Sebring.
It was like, I thought he was done, and then he just kept going. And I was like, oh, okay, so there is more.
It actually was.
That actually sounds more like him.
But
no, it was super on point.
It was on point, but it was literally we'd pause and be like, okay, so he's done. And then I was like, oh, he is not done. There is more.
Revert to
and it
original.
Felt like he was starting to walk away, but he was actually just repositioning. It was like, okay.
So everybody else's is between 6 and 10 seconds long, right? The 3-person interview with the Grello guys is 43 seconds long. Felipe Nasser by himself spoke for 38 seconds, which, I was exaggerating with the 2 minutes, but when everybody else is talking for 5 seconds and he goes on for over half a minute, that's quite a long answer there. But no, Felipe straight up asked at Daytona why we hadn't interviewed him yet. Because I guess we have done decent interviews with just about everyone else.
Yeah.
All of last year, we never talked to Felipe. We talked to everybody else on PPM, never talked to Felipe. And he's always been super nice, and there's no reason not to talk to him. He just is in the other car, is the problem. And I will say with this one, I didn't talk to anyone from the 6. I intentionally was I could get an interview from everyone in the 6 every race. I'm not concerned about that. I would like to try and showcase other drivers in IMSA, not just Lawrence Vanthoor and Kevin Estra every single time. I think if you're listening to this show, if you're consuming our content, you are aware, or should be aware, I don't know how you wouldn't be aware, who Lawrence Vanthoor and Kevin Estra are, because we talk about them a lot. But yeah, it was a lot of fun having to explain to the drivers what I wanted, because it's not an interview so how are you feeling about the track this weekend? And getting an answer from them. It's social media content, so I did need to sort of brief them on what I was doing, what I was trying to get from them. And a couple of them did want a big ol' full explanation. Shout out, though, to Klaus Bachler, who, like, forced his teammates to participate. Like, 100%.
Yeah.
They wanted to just keep walking into the garage, and he's like, nope, you're participating in this. I guess he's passing on what Lauren did to him at Daytona last year, dragging him and Alessio into that interview.
It very much so gave that vibe, but it also gave the, like, team dad vibe of, like, I am making these kids do stuff and I'm in charge of you, and it's not like he's older by much or, like, anything, or, like, they're all very, like, similar in age.
No, I think Klaus is decently older than...
Is he?
Than them, isn't he? He's, like, in his mid-30s, I thought.
Maybe I just think Klaus is younger than...
Yeah, no, Klaus is... I think Klaus is older. Hold on, now I need to look this up. Klaus back.
Because in my brain, he's, like, early 30s.
1991. He's, like, 34 years old.
Okay, so he is older than I thought he was.
Yeah, no, he's definitely older than you thought he was.
Yep. Well, then I guess the role fits.
Yeah.
Not as much as, you know, Ryan with Morris, but...
No, yeah, Ryan with Morris or Nick with Harry.
Harry. Those are more comparable to the dad.
Those are team dads.
Yeah, but yes. My also one was for you was Nikki Katzberg, who like started and then was like, actually, can we restart? I want to say something else.
That was actually amazing. Like, he understood that this was social media content and he wanted it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Which, like, amazing. Wonderful. I wish everyone was like that.
Yes. So thank you, Nikki Katz, for understanding the bit. And then I made my question interview debut, I guess, at Sebring. I had a friend ask if I would ask drivers about their race car's windshield wipers, and I said, why not?
If we thought they were confused about how to describe a track without using their preferred word, they were really confused being asked about windshield wipers, especially your boy over there. He was really confused.
Yeah. I was like, okay. The way we went about this question was like...
somewhere. There we go.
Each car, we really only need one driver from each car. Hey, I'm wearing my Matt hat, so you know.
I know, I put my Matt hat on because I was making fun of him.
He's not the smartest.
Fun sidebar. So the fire alarm went off in my building today, and like it was not a scheduled one. So I took my passport, my wallet, my phone, my dog, and my Kevin Esther hat.
That's great.
That's expected. Expect the expected from you.
But yeah, the way we went about this one was like we only really need one driver from each car. And I was like, I'm gonna bug Matt about talking about the 963's windshield wiper settings. And I literally went up to him and I was like, I have a very silly question. I need you to talk about the car's windshield wipers and how many settings there are. And he was like, okay. And then proceeds to not talk about how many settings there are on the windshield wipers, but rather what windshield wipers are for. Matt, I think I know what a windshield wiper is.
I feel like everyone that listens to the show knows what a windshield wiper is, Matt.
I mean, we hope for it. We hope so.
I would hope so. Like, I feel like even if you don't drive a car, you know what a windshield wiper is for.
I know that my dog hates them.
Yeah. But apparently Matt thinks we're all very stupid and we don't know what windshield wipers
are
for.
Matt.
So then I had to rebrief him that I want the settings, and he was just like 3. And I was like, that's what I expected from you. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Not they're good in the wet.
Who was it that gave us like a lesson on how not to use windshield wipers? Was that Earl?
So it was kind of a cross between Earl and Nick Yellowly, because Nick decided to give us a fun fact about windshield wipers and how if you leave them on when it's drying, you can, like, kill the, like, engine.
The windshield wiper motor, not the engine of the car.
Yes. The
Speaking
motor.
of Nick Yellowly, look at this beautiful MSR fan that we got.
Yes.
It's actually a Honda fan, but
I
think we forgot to show these off last episode.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, Nick gave us that, and, like, we talked to Earl about it, so that he gave us a whole lesson on windshield wipers, too. I learned more about...
the third person told us that they mess up the tear-offs, didn't they?
Yes. Earl talked about, like, oil. I think Ben Barker, who we didn't edit into the video because the audio got messed up, told us about how they messed up the tear-offs. So, and then we learned that for LMP2s, they just don't work.
And if they do work, it's a button.
Yeah.
But how did you like doing your first? Because you've obviously done interviews, like you were in the Kevin interview at Daytona, you were in the Rexy interview at Daytona. How did you like doing these one-on-ones?
It was fine. What else to say? I'm giving my Matt Campbell impersonation of just one-word answers.
Yeah. Good. What I'm not sure is good is Genesis.
Oh.
They yeah, so I'm going to read. I've been doing a lot of reading recently on this podcast. Good thing I'm capable of that.
Story time with Nick.
Going to read an excerpt from this article from Daily Sports Car. Shout out to, like, Graham and Steven and the crew. It says, Genesis explained that Lauderer and Durrani were originally expected to compete in different cars. However, through the GMR 001's testing and development phase, according to the news release, it became clear that the strongest option for the team was to pair the two in the number 17 GMR 001 hypercar, where their combined experience is complemented by hypercar debutant and Genesis Magma Racing Trajectory Program graduate Mathis Jobert. So what they're saying there is they don't care about the 19 at all, and they only care about the 17. Because why are you putting the only two guys that have driven the freaking car for more than, like, 2 months in the same car?
And the two guys with the least amount of experience in the car in the same car together.
Like, Jam is an exceptional LMDH driver.
Yes.
There is no question there. Paul Upsherton's good, and Danny Okadea is, like, not a bad driver, right? So, like, that's not a bad lineup, but I'm sorry, you're putting frickin' Andre Lauderer and Pippo Durrani with their resumes in one car and, like, not splitting them up? And I understand, like, all of Pippo's laurels come from IMSA, pretty much, but he has a hell of a resume in IMSA. So, yeah.
It's just, I think everyone kind of expected, like, when it was announced, the drivers
Andre Carr and the Pippo car.
Andre Carr, Pippo car, but then, like, you have naturally two Porsche guys, so, like, I feel like a lot of people expected Andre and Jam to end up together, also because when the IMSA program starts, you take Pippo, you take Jam, one from each car, and just kind of chuck them off.
Which, like, you can still do that.
Which you can still
take
do.
Pippo and Jam.
But, like...
Which I absolutely think they're doing, but they'll probably put them both in the same car.
Yes.
They're gonna run two cars, they're gonna put some randos in the other car, and then put Jam and Pippo in the one car together.
What I, like, expected lineups to be was, like, you had the drivers with GM backing in Danny and Pippo in a car, and then you throw either PLC probably into that car. And then I expected you had the 2 Porsche guys, and then I guess you throw in the child
The child.
into that car.
I mean, realistically, you should have had one car where everyone spoke French.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care whether that's Andre PLC and Jam, Andre PLC and Jobert, like, any combination of you have guys that speak French. You should stick them all in a car together for communication stuff, because otherwise you get what I like to call the Matt Campbell problem.
It's also why I expected like
Matt has literally said that Kevin and Larry had to speak English on his behalf.
Yes.
Because Kevin and Larry talk to each other in French.
But it's also, Matt is a bad example in the sense the team has just said no matter what, he's impossible to talk to because of his accent and how quick he talks on the radio. So, he's just a lost cause.
I mean, like, together when they're at dinner. Like,
yeah, that too, but I'm saying in general, Matt's just a lost cause.
If Kevin and Larry do go to Chili's together, they're probably going to speak French because that's what they do. But, like, if Matt was there with them, they have to speak English because Matt doesn't speak French.
No, he does not. But
Matt should get on that.
I think that's not gonna happen.
Matt, get Duolingo. I'm learning French terribly. I've been doing it for a very long time, and I'm still very bad at it.
I was gonna say that he should get the owl to harass him on a daily basis.
Right, exactly. He could get the owl to harass him. Would be great.
He gives the vibe of he would see the notification for it, swipe the notification away, and then just never do
Forget.
it. Yeah. I'm just saying that is his vibe. But yeah. I'm just saying I fully expected the lineups to be very different than what they are. This feels like a big, like, middle finger to the 19.
It really does.
Like, if I was PLC and Jam, more so Jam, PLC no matter what kind of needed to find a new program. In the case of Alpine won't exist after this year. Porsche, question mark.
They may not. They may be a dual program team again. Who knows?
Who knows? Exactly why I said question mark.
Big question mark. Who knows?
Yeah. I'd be regretting leaving teams. Going to Genesis.
Once again, as we always do, disclaimer. I have no idea if PPM or Porsche intend to re-enter WEC. I am being optimistic because I would like to see Kevin remain with Porsche, and I feel like a WEC program is kind of a big part of that. So, anytime I mention PPM becoming a dual program team again, this is just sheer optimism from me and not any, like, secret inside knowledge.
Well, obviously. I mean, you two already know this, and I'm pretty sure everybody else who listens to us probably knows this. As a fan of the competition, I would love to see them back because of the competition factor. So yeah, come back, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, like we said in the intro, Max Verstappen did a lot of stuff all over the place over the past couple weeks. This was something that was is still a bit of a hearsay, rumor type situation. At NLS 2, changes were made to the way the weekend is run because of Max Verstappen and his security demands. There apparently was no autograph session. There apparently was no garage access to the whole bank of garages that the number 3, whatever the heck it windward car thing it was in. And they're talking about potentially not having open grids at races that Max does. So, I mean, I've never been to an NLS round, but my understanding was that they're even more open than IMSA, which I don't even know how to, like, conceive of something being, like, can you go and sit in the car? Because I'm pretty sure that's, like, the only thing we can't do at IMSA. Do they let you drive the tugger carts? Ooh, they might let you drive the Tugger carts. That would be a big win, NLS, if you let fans drive the Tugger carts. But yeah, I mean, I have an issue with that. My big comparison, as someone who has been to a couple WEC races that Valentino Rossi has done, is like obviously comparing it to him. Valentino Rossi is a massive name, has a massive fan base that passionately follow him all over the world. And the way he is in the WEC paddock is night and day from what I've heard of Max. He actively wants to engage with his fans. Like, he wants to take pictures. He wants to sign autographs. He's very friendly. He'll shake your hand. He'll, put his arm around you for the picture. He obviously he has a handler with him, but like it's more of like a personal assistant. It's not like security. They don't restrict access to standing by the WRT garage. They don't restrict access to standing by like BMW's hut. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like Max needs to learn sports car culture and adapt to sports car culture.
Yeah. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Hot take, maybe. But if a series has to change how it runs in order for you to race in said series, you shouldn't be able to compete in said series. A series shouldn't have to adapt its normal day-to-day operations for one person.
And I could understand if it was genuine security concerns. I understand maybe not letting fans into the garage like while Max is there. But like it doesn't sound like it was security concerns. It sounds like it was Max not wanting to interact with people. Sorry, buddy, that's not sports car culture.
Oh, definitely not. That's Formula One exclusivity culture. That's not what the NLS is. That's not what any of the sports car. Like, obviously, I've never been to a race. I'm tired of saying this here. But from what I gather, the level of accessibility you get for sports car series is unprecedented when you compare it to, like, Formula One and the pinnacle, spoken with a very high degree of irony.
Yeah.
But like I don't think that's a way to that's not how you switch disciplines, and that's just not how you do it. I think that fans of other drivers, like from other teams who would take experience everything as they usually would, I don't think they deserve to have their experiences interfered with because, oh, someone else in there has a bit of a big, oh, I'm a big celebrity kind of mentality and I don't want anybody around me.
I'd hope that maybe, because like Danny and Jules are both incredibly fan friendly.
Yes.
I would hope that they would be like, Max, sit down, shut up, this is how we do this. The problem is, like, Max is the reason they're there.
Exactly.
The reason they're in this car. So I don't know that they're going to be. I think everyone's scared of him. I think that Mercedes are scared of it. Like, you anger Max and suddenly you don't have the number 3 Verstappen racing, whatever it's called, car. And he'll go to someone else. I'm sure that Porsche would love to sell him a car. I'm sure that BMW would love to sell him a car. So it's about who he can control, which again is just an awful way to look at entering a new series. Leave your, holier than thou F1 crap in F1.
Yep. Which, kind of off the same idea of Max and kicking people out and getting rid of things if he so wants to. Max in F1 also kind of did that because he just, decided he has it out for one specific reporter because of last year and wouldn't do his media. until he left.
Yeah, and what blows me away about this is this was not an FIA press conference. This was a roundtable in Red Bull's hospitality. Those are not just things that you... Like, I can't just show up and go to a roundtable in Red Bull's hospitality. Red Bull knows who's going to be there. They knew that Giles Richard was going to be there. And I'm sorry, but if Max had that much of an issue with this guy, that should have been communicated to the team ahead of time. And Red Bull have basically come out and said that they were blindsided by this. Max was wrong to do it, and they're working to make things right with Richards. And yeah, Max has just lost it, honestly. He has completely lost it. I don't know if he's just... His new hyperfixation is GT racing, so he doesn't care about Formula One anymore. He seems like he does not care about Formula One anymore in any way, shape, or form. And all he talks about, all he cares about is owning his GT team. Like, not even necessarily racing, owning the team. He did that interview with Jenny Gao with BBC, and he talked less about racing if and when he leaves Formula One, and more about expanding his team that he owns and operates. Like, I think he just wants to own a racing team. I really think he just is sick of being a driver. He said he wanted to hang out with his family, hang out with his friends, and expand his GT team.
Yeah. And also, part of it, I do think, too, is, he's a new dad.
yeah.
Maybe he just wants to, spend time with his new family.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe it's also the fact that his 2026 has not really started the way he wanted to in the F1 side of the equation. When you add all those little things up, it basically, I don't know, sets the stage up for a massive nuclear explosion. And that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like he's giving off little bursts here and there, and at some point something bigger is coming. I hope not, for his own sake. But yeah, this doesn't seem like the same guy we've seen in previous years, and who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always knew he was not going to be a Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso and spend his entire life racing. He's always said that. He does not plan to be racing into his 40s, but I don't know that he intends to be racing into his 30s at this point. He's 28, I think he'll be done before he hits 30. I mean, racing, yes, but full-time racing, 20 plus races a year, no. I don't think that's even... And I honestly don't know that he's... A lot of people have been saying, oh, he'll for sure be on a hypercar team. I don't know that he wants to do that.
Yeah.
I could see him, partnering in some way with some hypercar team to run a third car with a brand for Le Mans, but I don't know that it seems like he wants to do WEC.
It just feels like if he's gonna do anything, it's gonna be GT. That's the vibe it's giving.
Yeah. Because he does make a really, really specific point to talk about my GT3 team.
Yeah.
He's not talking about his racing team, so there's no reason to think he may go out and buy some LMP2s or LMP3s or a hypercar. He also, I think, wants to be the guy in charge, and you're not going to do that with a hypercar team. Even the privateer teams still have so much to do with the brand they're associated with, right? So
yeah.
even if he was a third Ford car, Ford is still going to have so much say. They're still going to say, hey, we want you to have this driver, or you need to do this. We're not giving you all of the information. That's a very well-known thing with Porsche, with both Joda and with Proton, was that they did not share, PPM did not share any information with those teams. So, do you think the factory Ford team is going to help Max Verstappen's team beat them? No, of course they're not. You know, they're putting all this effort into building a team. They're not going to help another team beat them.
Yeah. And then switching from one GT series to another, which actually ran this weekend. We had the GT World Challenge America season opener at a very green Sonoma. And, well, I unfortunately and frustratingly missed the race because I was watching NASCAR in Martinsville, and then I forgot that race was going on. And I caught it with like an hour remaining, and I was like, oh, I missed 2/3 of it. Like, what was the point by then? Yeah, I'm just gonna catch the replay at some point. What stood out to me was a very sad scene. We had basically BMW powered animal crimes, and that was the unicorn livery BMW taking out the Random Vandals BMW, which, if you know Random Vandals, their mascot is a raccoon.
There they are.
So yeah, it was
Gizmo.
just sad. It was a very sad moment because they're fan favorites.
It was Gizmo versus Sparklefart's crime.
Yes.
For context, the Random Vandals mascot they call Gizmo, and then the unicorn livery is called Sparklefarts. I jokingly said Random Vandals was a little too busy, at IndyCar, because if you don't know, at Barber there was a raccoon at the track. So that was my joke of what happened. They were just too busy with IndyCar, but ultimately the raccoons were able to continue on. The unicorn, not so much. Very unfortunate.
No, the unicorn farted its sparkle, but way too much. Yeah, it was a colorful explosion of unicorn
rainbows everywhere.
Yeah, rainbows, the rainbow of destruction. In this case,
rainbow of destruction.
Yes. I would, you know what? I would
Nice.
commission, if I could, I would commission, I forgot his name. Abel something? That guy who made the Daytona.
Oh, Abel Talk, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him. I would commission him to make an illustration of that collision and a rainbow explosion just in the background.
I could see Roger Warwick, who's the one that does these pieces, doing that, because that's like very much. Where's my PP?
I was gonna say that feels like more his style.
Like his style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like lots of art. It's definitely not this dude's style. I forget who this guy even is. Steven Petrosky.
Yeah, definitely not him.
I've got a couple pieces of his art too.
Love that one.
If you do art and it's of drivers I like, I will probably buy it. So, like, go ahead and make art of Scott Dixon and Kevin Estra, because I will probably buy said art, as I just demonstrated by whipping out 4 pieces of art.
Yeah, I will say, though, they are doing a livery contest for Indy 8 Hours for that car, which I think surprised everyone. I don't think we expected Sparklefarts to not do the 8 hours.
I think it's still going to be Sparklefarts. I think they want a fan version of Sparklefarts.
I will submit a rainbow.
We can submit the exploding rainbow.
Yeah,
right.
Let's do an entry for that.
Yeah,
we should do an entry.
I am simply not artistic enough for that, so I will leave that to you guys.
I mean, I'm not either, but we can dream.
We can try.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We can try.
We can try.
Microsoft Paint.
It's just using the half circles and making a rainbow, and then using the paint fill tool. And then writing Sparklefarts by hand.
See, I have art skills, but I really just want to do a really bad Microsoft Paint version.
I mean, maybe we don't need to write it using like our writing. We can just use Comic Sans.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
You know what? This sounds like the meme of the week for this.
True. Yeah, like, okay, deviating from all this livery talk, which I can go on for hours if you know me, to the actual race, it wasn't, I can say confidently, it was not a really bad result for us when you consider that we had a Canadian taking victory, a Ferrari taking second place, and the Porsche Tom Sargent was driving took third place. And let's not forget it was with Kyle Washington, who is a friend of the show.
Yes.
And fellow Canadian American. Very important. Look, it's very important that that's pointed out. But yes, they took third. They also took first in their class. It was great. Tom, this whole weekend has just been something else. In his version of qualifying, he was on pole. In the practice sessions, they were always like in the top 5.
They were always on the graphic.
They were always on the graphic, for the most part. And then the last hour, I don't know what they fed him, but boy was on something else, as he was just out there doing all the passes and just really trying to close the gap at the end.
Yeah.
Also, this was the first weekend of the new format for GT World Challenge America, which I'll say I think it was successful. I thought it was pretty exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like it being more of an endurance race. It's kind of cool that way, and that it's not it's still what I think we would all define in the endurance world as a sprint round, but it is not a hour race. It's not a 70-minute race. It's a longer race. So that was cool. I did like that.
Yeah,
You could
I also
actually
liked
see
the
stuff
way
develop.
the way of qualifying too, but also for the race itself, you actually had different strategies, which I felt before we didn't really have that aspect with GT World Challenge America, so it was nice to see that aspect become part of it.
Yeah. And then, it was a phenomenal weekend for Porsche. They went P1 through P6 in Pro-Am, so that was pretty awesome. Again, me being the other way about what could happen with PPM. If all the GTP drivers decide to leave Porsche and go to other brands, and Porsche is at a loss for contract drivers, I feel like Tom Sargent, Zach Vanier, and Ryan Yardley are fantastic options to look at. Porsche, you should do that.
Yes, please.
In case all the GTP drivers decide they want to go race elsewhere. Which I have no reason to believe they're going to, but in case they do, sign those 3 boys.
Yes, I will say the one sad thing for this weekend was Loc Hartog. We didn't get to see him race in the cow car this week because they had issues in testing and couldn't get the car ready in time. So that was sad, but we'll see cow car eventually. It's very cool looking.
Potentially, if I go to COTA, I will see it. It's the weekend after Long Beach. I'm not sure that I want to go, but I can just go for the day.
Yeah.
Which is cool and convenient because it is fully open paddock. No reason that I couldn't just go, and I know a lot of these guys at this point, so it's not I'm going and is that somebody? The Porsche guys, I know them. They, they are friends of the show, so it kind of feels silly to not go down just for race day.
Yeah.
You know them and they know you, so it's a two-way street right there.
Exactly. Now on to the track that Kevin Estra wishes that IMSA would race at.
Barber.
He said that.
He did. But yes, Barber. Let's talk about Barber. I think one of the big talking points was barriers and safety of said barriers. Because if you didn't see it somehow, because it was everywhere, Scotty Mac lost the car, hit the barrier, and kind of went through the barrier. All I'm gonna say is, it looks like the barrier was designed to work the way that it worked. And it could have been a lot worse if the catch fencing wasn't there.
So I don't think anybody, and I'd be very interested to check back in with everyone who was talking smack on the barrier setup at Barber, because they were all Formula One fans after Ollie Behrman's crash.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I know that's later on in the notes, but I want to tie these two things together. Scotty Mac climbed out of the car that had very little damage to it, had no injuries, was immediately cleared by the medical staff, and was able to qualify like 2 hours later. Oliver Behrman hit fancy grade 1 barriers, big rows of tires with an Armco behind them, very solid, and we all saw what happened. He could barely get out of the car. He could barely walk over to the marshal. The second he got to the marshal, he collapsed and had to be lowered to the ground. Which one of those is safer?
Also, there was a video circulating of Ollie getting on the subway when he got home, and he could barely walk even then, and that was a few days later.
They said he messed up his knee pretty bad.
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
again, which one of those is safer? Because I will take Scotty Mac having 0 medical effects, no injuries whatsoever, and a barrier that you think looks scary over an actual scary crash because the guy may as well have crashed into a concrete fence in Japan. Just because it's European inspired, just because it's grade 1, just because Formula One uses it, doesn't make it always better. And just because it's in America doesn't make it some hillbilly mumbo jumbo. Because that's what I saw online too. Oh, it's in Alabama, it must be some made up thing. No, the broadcast said that this is some innovative catch fencing that they're developing based on avalanche mitigation stuff that's used, in ski areas, in mountain towns where they need to worry about rock slides and avalanches, and a way to bend but not break and dissipate energy safer.
Also, if you know anything about Mr. Barber, R.I.P., rest in peace to him, the man didn't mess around about stuff like this. So I kind of trust him to build a safe racetrack, and at the end of the day, just because it's grade 1 doesn't mean it's better.
Definitely not. That's the usual elitist crap that we are used to seeing every now and again whenever something big happens in IndyCar, something big for the wrong reasons, like Scotty Mac's accident. That just, people, instead of, obviously, it's social media, people, instead of doing their research and understanding how stuff works, just go out spewing their nonsense. Well, yeah, I guess this weekend we saw both examples in practice, in during in use, and yeah, take your own conclusions. I know which side I'm taking.
And also just shout out to the safety team, the AMR safety team, for how they handled the situation too, because they are really the pinnacle in my mind of safety teams and how they handle situations. So just a shout out to them, because they did a great job with handling the situation as well.
Yeah, I meant to put that in the notes. Formula One, what on earth are you doing having one medical car, one medical staff that stages at pit out? You know? You've got volunteer marshals having to be, and I get it, they go through training, but they are not medical first responders. What are we doing having them be the people that for minutes, because you can't run against the flow of the track. If it's a clockwise track, they need to do the entire track. And you think about how long it takes an F1 car to go around, and the medical car goes significantly slower than that. You're talking about, 2 minutes sometimes for the medical car to get there. I'm sorry, there need to be multiple medical cars. Formula One needs to look at what is done in other series, not just IndyCar. Other series have points around the track that medical staff can pop out from, that needs to be addressed, because someone's gonna have something go really, really wrong someday because of how long it takes medical staff to get there.
I'm always of the mindset you shouldn't need a bad situation to create change. You should always be working towards having a better system.
It makes you wonder if they've been getting lucky all this time, given their practices.
It feels like it.
It feels like it 100%. Well, kind of related. Someone needs to find whoever currently has the Sage. I don't know if it's still being possessed by Connor Zilish or who has it, but whoever has it, you need to give it to Willpower. Because Homeboy needs it. Like, badly.
He said he wants Sage. Someone bring him Sage.
Because
I say someone as if I'm not the one going to the next IndyCar race.
Yeah. Bring him some Sage.
I thought I had some Sage that someone gave me as like a housewarming gift, but it was actually like incense sticks, so I don't have any Sage.
Yeah. Well, somebody get Will some Sage, because besides Arlington, it's not going so great for him.
Yeah, he's had some really, really hard...
You could say that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Andretti didn't have a whole lot of luck in Arlington with the pit stops, as we know. But, like, Will's been having...
They won the race.
Yeah, they won the race.
Well, that was Kyle being ballsy. But, like, it feels like Will's been unable to catch a break with his broken brakes, because it's not the first time this season that has happened. So...
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know
just
what's going on over there. They're just unable to get his car to stop. Maybe Alex Palou has stolen all the Sage. He's stockpiling it, because honestly, after this weekend, I think after Arlington and after this weekend, I can safely say he's going to win this title based on everyone else having pit stop problems and the Chip Ganassi team being flawless.
Please don't remind me. I really thought the 7 had a chance. And then cut to the pit stop, and I was like, well, there goes everything.
I will
say,
so bad.
From people at Ganassi, they're one of the only teams that seems to take every aspect of being an IndyCar team as seriously as they do. Like, every last thing has to be perfect, is super scrutinized. The drivers do not accept things going wrong, like Scott Dixon's crew is still one of the best overall pit crews despite the issue at St. Pete. Like, they still have some of the best pit stop results. Their whole, like, they don't make mistakes because it's not an option for that team. That team has been so good for so long consistently. I mean, can any of us remember a time when they weren't? Like, it was before either of you were born. So, that there's just a level there of not allowing mediocrity. So,
Yeah. Like, started watching IndyCar by accident in 2004, and they were always back then it was the Target team. There was always a Target car running at the front, challenging for
Yep.
victory and challenging for the title. When I started watching IndyCar the full season, they were always there in contention, and well, nothing's changed.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah.
The names on the cars, that's it.
That's it. But
the
also,
names on the, not the 9, but the names on the other cars have changed.
if you're Dana, you mean the 10. Also, like, even for the 7 hasn't made a lot of mistakes in the past. So, like, seeing that, I was like, of all the times to have your mess
McLaren
up.
overall do, though.
Yeah.
McLaren overall are, I won't say abysmal, because I'll reserve that for Andretti, but they are not what I would call elite at pit stops.
Oh no.
I will say, though, of all the teams,
they make a lot of mistakes.
The 7 is usually the better of the 3. So I was like,
yeah,
of all the times to make your 7 mistake,
Mm-hmm.
it had to be right now.
Yeah.
The one time you needed to not make a mistake.
Exactly.
And so the other thing with Palou is, and with Dixon in the past, is even if there is a tiny mistake, you know, they are still so far ahead of everyone else that they can still manage a victory. They don't need everybody else to screw up to win. They can just win on merit, and they can win on merit and occasionally make a mistake. It's insanely impressive.
Now we're going to move to NASCAR. We're not going to talk about the NASCAR race. I'm actually just going to call out a driver because I can. Connor Zelish, or as I'm calling him lately, Connor the Carrot, because they made him wear orange and he looked like a carrot. What can I say? He's a traitor because he switched to a bootcut suit now, and he shouldn't have, okay? That's all I have to say. He's a traitor.
I'm hoping that sponsor just like made a bootcut suit without asking or checking, and he'll be back in a normal suit for the next race, but I don't know.
We expected better of him.
Yeah, don't forget where you came from, Connor.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did think that was sort of expected because I thought it was the norm for NASCAR, so I thought, oh, he's gonna make that change eventually. But
it is, but not for Trackhouse, because you also have SVG.
True.
So, like,
yeah, I got a point
that
there.
team doesn't really care about, like, boot cut or not. So, I didn't expect him to make a switch.
Yeah. And then, obviously, we've been taking a lot of shots at F1, you know, in this whole episode. GT World Challenge Asia also took a shot at F1 on Twitter. You know, calling out that their series doesn't have super clipping and energy harvesting and what. I don't know, is this good, bad, helpful, harmful? Like, what does this do for GT World Challenge Asia? Which, like, again, is not even the premier GT World Challenge, you know? Maybe not the best look for, like, a smaller series that doesn't necessarily have like the stars of sports car racing always participating in it. I don't know, Chan Guven came out and straight up called them out and said, guys, we're not gonna do this. So that was, you know, interesting.
Yeah. I will say I kind of agree with his sentiment. Like, the whole having to drag down another series as a way to boost up your series, like, it does kind of give childish. Like, especially when you are not kind of this premier series like GT World Challenge Asia is. I definitely kind of see the precedent that he's kind of trying to establish with what he said and where he was coming from.
I think the jokes are fantastic. I don't know that a series needs to be making
Exactly.
them. I don't know that teams need to be making them. If drivers want to come out and say it, Daniel Cadeo was all over Twitter this weekend calling out how terrible F1 is for a racing product. But he's an individual. He's a driver. If every single driver in sports cars, in IndyCar, in NASCAR, in whatever series want to come out and say, man, F1 is lame, we are cooler than that. Okay. But it's a little weird for a series itself to be doing it.
Exactly. I think there's like a line, and the line is like, drivers, okay. If it's like an embodiment, maybe not.
Yeah, it does. It kind of feels like everybody's jumping on this, oh, let's all dunk on Formula One bandwagon. Like it feels like it's become the norm for like you guys were saying, for other series, for other teams to just start making little snide remarks all over the place, like using, mentioning super clipping, mentioning battery management, mentioning all those things that have been the point of attention for Formula One this year. And yeah, it just kind of feels like a cheap attempt at drawing attention to themselves after a while. That's what it feels to me, at least.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Orange Flag Pod. Nicole is at Nicole on Racing. Austin is at Austin Trackside, and Aries is at Aries_Alpenglow.
Stay orange.